Let's get started. Hi everyone, it's me, and today let's set the protocol. Try to set the protocol. A game protocol together. Let's go.
Hello Internet!
Hello Internet!
Welcome!
Hello Internet! Welcome to Game Theory! Hi!
To the couch video that I never expected that we'd have to make. I am literally headed out the door and to the airport in like 45 minutes, but I felt like I needed to sit down on the couch and address a very important issue that I've seen come up in the last 48 hours. I guess by the time this video goes live, might be closer to 72. We're going to try to get this out the door as fast as possible. But anyway, very recently since our...
It's a very rushed video, but it's very important for him to post it out.
The last episode. A few days ago, we posted this. The latest episode about our good old buddy FNAF, discussing the latest book in the series, Felix the Shark. Not a particularly great book, but also not the worst in the series. Looking...
Oh yeah, I just noticed, like, it's very rushed to the point in which his hair, his facial, he didn't shave.
Through this book, we found several details that I thought were pretty darn interesting. Clues that seem to be pointing towards the existence of some sort of FNAF ARG that
possible
never got off the ground,
ARG.
or maybe was hidden out there in the ether that no one had actually stumbled across yet. So, in that video, I asked you, the FNAF fan base and fellow theorists, to look into the game files of the FNAF 3 mobile game port, because that was explicitly mentioned in the novel, or to any locals of towns that were mentioned in the book itself to let us know if we had maybe missed something about the geography of these local towns. At least
maybe
that was my intention in making
probability.
this video. I mean, ARGs happen all the time, and we've covered them before in episodes like the Inscription series or Wilbur Soot's ARG, so why would this one be any different?
Even Food Theory have their own video.
Over the years, you as the community have dug up all kinds of clues for us, and so I was hoping, hey, our collective hive mind would be able to do it again. I figured that people who knew the history of the franchise and this channel would act in a safe and responsible way when it came to looking into something like this. And admittedly, millions of you did. There are millions of views on that video, and the vast majority of you either just watched it and kind of let it circulate through your YouTube feed, or, you know, you maybe dug through a couple of game files, whatever. Unfortunately, a few hundred of you, it's hard to gauge the actual numbers of this thing, but whatever the number, too many. Some people actually called the actual places of businesses in the towns that were referenced in the book. According to our subreddit, one place of business actually received enough annoying phone calls that they actually had to shut off their phones. See this? This is me internally screaming right now. Just to be
Alright, that's kind of disturbing to know.
absolutely crystal clear, beyond a reasonable doubt. Stop. Please stop. I don't know if you can tell, but I was not expecting this. And honestly, this issue caught all of us off guard. I never wanted or intended anyone to bother real people, and it's never, ever acceptable to harass an individual or a place of business. Period.
Like, just please stop it. They are doing business and... yeah.
End of story. And here's the thing. I don't think most of you were intending this, even if you were calling these places up. But consider this. You are a single person researching an online mystery. But if, say, 100 other people researching that same online mystery all call the same phone number asking the exact same question, yeah, that's going to get bad in a hurry. So this is me formally saying to those business owners, those members of the community, individuals who may have felt harassed or burdened by this.
My deepest apologies. I'm sorry.
I am sorry. I am so sorry. It was never my intention to cause issues for people or businesses. And again, to the loyal theorists watching this video, stop. Cannot make that clear enough. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but this is not the way to do things. It is never acceptable to call someone or their place of business to look for lore in a video game. And never, ever post addresses or phone numbers, even for
It's called doxing. And also, on a prior note, right, they are doing businesses and you are just interrupting their business. One call maybe like 5 minutes, 100 calls is 500 minutes. They have to work. It is their business. They can just put aside some time for you.
Publicly listed businesses. It's just not appropriate. And as someone who's had to endure that level of harassment in the past, it is not something that I would ever wish on anyone. It's totally inappropriate for anyone, but especially this community, the Game Theorists community, which I consider to be smart and respectful. So even if you mean well, just stop. I appreciate it, but now is the time to call this one off. So now that we've gotten the most important message out there into the universe, I want to...
Like, to stop it, Please.
Play a few solutions for the future, because just addressing the issue here doesn't really get down to the root of the problem or how we can prevent this moving forward, because
Yes, I really like it that MatPat and the team behind this video, they really think about it through. It's like 治标不治本 in Chinese language, as I'm saying that. That means you fix the surface level, but you do not fix the root problem, the core issue. Alright, so thank you so much. Because moving ahead towards the future, there'll be more channels who will be covering ARGs, there'll be more games who want to involve ARGs. MatPat, the team behind the game series, the film series, food series, they will also want to cover on more ARGs. So it's always good to set proper protocols, the rules and regulations, the R&R.
here's the thing. I love ARGs. You clearly love ARGs. They are some of the most fun content that we get to cover on these channels.
The community get to bond together with each other. It's great.
I mean, even Food Theory got itself a freaking ARG with Omega Mark. And we are going to keep covering them like we've done many times in the past with Inscription and Fortnite. This whole time, I keep asking myself, what happened here? If we had done an episode on the Gravity Falls ARG back when that was still going on, which I even call out in the video in question, would things have been different? Because that Gravity Falls ARG also required people to share clues online and act as a global community. It required them to go to real-world locations to find real-world treasure. And let's be honest, if anything, ARGs are becoming more mainstream, because everything from classic science fiction to sitcom seems like it has an ARG coming out. We, as a set of channels whose whole shtick is to talk about mysteries in video games, TV, and movies, need to be able to discuss these sorts of things happening in the media around us. That's when the solution hit me. There's no protocol in place. We've never been taught officially the rules and etiquette of doing an ARG, a puzzle that crosses from the online world into the real world. And
true, the rules and etiquette, the proper rules and etiquette for this current society that we live in.
This FNAF ARG just wound up being the first one that a lot of you were exposed to. And hopefully, maybe you just weren't aware of the etiquette of solving these sorts of puzzles. Etiquette that is built in with the express purpose of avoiding these sorts of problems that happen when the internet and the real world collide. There are great ways to make ARGs, but there are equally great ways to solving ARGs.
True.
So, how do we move forward in a safe way? Education. Talking openly about this and just coming up with a written list of stuff that we all just have an inherent understanding that we follow. I honestly think that
inherent understanding. Make it so that it's understandable by all, and try to make it as common sense as possible.
the vast majority of people out there who were calling up places of business or looking for clues in real life were doing so earnestly. They had no ill intent. They were just not realizing that this was out of bounds to call a place of business to ask them about a video game. It was wrong, but that's a far cry from malicious. They didn't know the rules of these sorts of games, so I want to make it very clear that if and when we reference ARGs on the channel, that there is going to be a clear set of guidelines that every single person should be aware of and follow.
Yes, it's a far cry from being called purposeful malicious. They might have unintentionally done it. That's why it's always good to be polite, thoughtful, and towards one another. I am sorry.
Actually reference this video many times if we ever do something like this in the future. We've never had this sort of issue come up in the past, but now that it's here, it's time that we move forward as responsible human beings. We set expectations for ourselves, our community, and hopefully for the wider internet. And I'm doing this right here on the channel instead of posting this as a bulleted list on Reddit or on Twitter, mostly because I want to make sure that all of you who saw that original video have the best shot possible of seeing this video as well. To make it
Yes, I'm just glad that MatPat actually recognized that his YouTube influence is significantly larger than his Reddit influence. His YouTube is bigger than his Twitter, his YouTube is bigger than his Reddit, his YouTube is bigger than anything else. Yeah, thank you so much, MatPat, for clarifying that. Thank you.
It's very clear that our first priority as an online community, as theorists and as puzzle solvers, is to act safely and responsibly. And if you think that we've missed anything here, like I said, we kind of rushed through this, everyone on the team kind of brainstormed this very quickly, but please put it down in the comments. We'll add it to the official list. First, and absolutely most importantly, never, ever, ever publish someone's private information online, even if you think there's the slightest, remotest possibility that it could be associated with an ARG. That is called doxing. And it
Don't dox people. Please don't.
is probably the biggest internet-wide no-no, period. End of story. Spoiler alert, there are going to be no clues in there. Rule 2, and associated with that last point, stick to publicly available information. No hacking or uncovering something that involves accessing private information about a person or business. I know, it's exciting. ARGs feel like this big exciting mystery, and it's like, I'm living out my hacker fantasies. But remember, they are games that are meant to be played with the public, so keep them in the public sphere.
Yes, so case in point, it's public individuals is able to access it without like those kind of PhD level or like master's level kind of hacking. No, someone that there is no experience in all this can still play this ARG.
Number 3, some ARGs, including very famous ones like the Gravity Falls ARG, will require you to go to real-world locations, or some representative of your puzzle-solving team to go to a real-world location. These will almost always, in fact, they should always be public spaces, and places that do not require you to interact with a person, go onto any private property, or otherwise disturb someone else's life. Be safe in these situations regardless of any evidence that you might see. Never go to a place that you wouldn't feel comfortable going to in everyday life. Never enter private property. And yes, that abandoned warehouse or old pizzeria or whatever is private property. It is not acceptable for you to go there. Or
yeah, and why would you even want to go there? It have a bad reputation of being haunted. Like haunted. Why?
You know, another shorthand for this is if you've ever been to an escape room, they say the same thing. The clues are going to be obvious. They're going to be in front of you. Do not break stuff to try and find a hidden clue. There is no hidden clue, and all you would have done is broken stuff. Rule number 4, things like business addresses and phone numbers are indeed listed online publicly, and so talking about them is technically not doxing, important distinction to make, but it's not okay to call those private businesses about anything other than doing business with them. If you're
Yes, you must recognize that. Collectively speaking, your time is not more precious than everybody else's time. People have to work, people have to do business, people have their own stuff to do, have their own schedules. So please recognize that your time, regardless of your positions, your rank, your roles and responsibilities, you could be a billionaire's son, you could be some politician's sons, your time is not more important than everybody else's times collectively. Do you understand that?
calling Domino's, make sure you're calling Domino's for some delicious pizza and not asking them whether they belong to the Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria universe. If you're doing it, assume that a handful of other people is doing it. And while one phone call might not constitute harassment, a couple hundred phone calls does, whether that's intentional or not. And finally, rule number 5, which is kind of a corollary of rule number 4, find one central place to solve ARGs so people aren't trying to repeatedly do the same stuff. Find your like-minded group of puzzle solvers and theorists. Unite together. Reddit, Discord, great places to do this sort of thing, but taking over unrelated boards or spaces to dig into an ARG, not okay. It should go without saying, but we would never cover an ARG on this channel that involved violating any of those sorts of guidelines. It's true, sometimes we may not have all the steps of an ARG pre-solved when we publish a video because we think it's a fun mystery that's fun to solve together as a community. Instead, there is no lore, no interesting animatronic discovery that would be worth violating anyone's privacy or disrespecting other people in the real world or online.
I'm just glad that MatPat didn't just summarize everything as it's not alright to step over the boundaries. Because this sentence is very vague. I'm glad that MatPat goes in depth about it. What it means to not overcross your boundaries. I'm just glad that MatPat and the team actually brainstorm and try their best to make a educational video about it. Thank you so much, MatPat. You did a very good job. Thank you.
Hope that we can all move forward doing things that are this exciting, but more importantly, safe. Again, really didn't see this one coming, especially given our long history of covering ARGs, but hey, now that it's here, it's incredibly important to me that this community be a place where we stay responsible. So again, I am so sorry to everyone and anyone who's been affected by this whole thing. And to the rest of you watching, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. Please, if you know someone who saw that original video but might not have seen this one, send it over to them. Very important that everyone gets this message across. It wasn't a game theory, but this one was an important video for the theorist community and to all other aspiring puzzle solvers out there. So thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Stay safe. And as always, stay curious.
Oh, stay curious. Thank you so much, iPad, for mentioning it. So the ending I'll probably not be doing, but hey, that's just a theory. A game theory! Thanks for watching. Yeah, I'll probably skip that part. Wait, I just did that part. What am I doing, man? Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. This video has been very educational, and I hope that you find this video very, yeah, you learn something about it, because the internet age and the real life age mixed together, it's a brand new world in which we have not explored much with. So just like how every exploration, there'll be the pros and cons, there'll be a dark history, there'll be a sad mistakes that we made, like human beings from a few hundred years, a few thousand years ago. This right now is the mistakes that we can learn from, so that in the future we can look back to this current day and say that, let's not make the same mistake that our upper study have done. Shall we? So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you. Subscribe.